Hey everybody, Ralph Havens here, and day after the election. And one thing I didn't do when I woke up this morning, I got up a little early, but then I went back to bed because one of my rules is I don't get up out of bed to stay up out of bed till at least after 5 a.m. If I do get up earlier than that, it kind of fries me a bit at the end of the day. So there I was up, and a part of me was like, wow, I wonder what happened last night because I stayed up for a while and to see what happened in the U.S. elections. And this morning I woke up and I was like, what am I going to do? And I was like, well, one thing I'm not going to do is check my email. I'm not going to check my phone, even though I don't even have a cell phone that I use. Um, not going to check Jen's phone. Not going to check Facebook. Not going to check the election results. I do what I do. And you know, when people sign up to get sessions with me, to work with me, to do stuff, to heal things, it's kind of like they have their session, but there's a lot of, like when one of my coaches Katie says, is I don't know what you do on the back end, Ralph, but I sure feel it. Like once she was really, really not feeling well, and then she was like, contact Ralph. She told one of her people, contact Ralph. And then she was like, well, and it's like she was feeling way, way better. And she's like, I don't know what you do on the back end. So what I did this morning is what I do every morning. And it's about 2.5 hours of stuff. And ultimately, it's what I've been put here to do. It's what I've been doing since I've been a little kid, is to searching for God, I guess you would call it, or whatever you want to call that, the absolute. And it always had to do with the healing thing. That was always my thing. Like, how do people heal from stuff? And Jen was talking yesterday. We went for a run and a beautiful day. It was raining. By the time we ran, it was the drizzle. It was just very light mist, and it was a great run in Watcom Falls Park. I think I might be a sun god because I hardly ever run in an absolute rain up here in the Pacific Northwest. It's always just a little mist at the most. Every once in a while, a real rain, but not really. And but Jen was talking. She said, when she was in high school, I think it was high school. Might have been. It was early. It was when she was a little kid. They had an election, and she was like elected to run for mayor or governor or something as part of the little kid thing. And one of the things that she did was give everybody massages. And so as a little kid, she was already doing what she was going to be doing. And later she became a massage therapist, and then a Reiki practitioner, and then a matrix energetics practitioner and magic person, but healing stuff. And she kind of had it already as a little kid. And that's what I had when I was a little kid. I was always like trying to help people with their healing. And so one thing I noticed is something that happened many years ago when I had some business consultants, and one of them was a Scientologist guy, old guy from, not old, anyway, he passed away, but he was a cool dude, funny dude, but he taught me public speaking. So thank him for that, for how I just kind of blab and blab and blab. But I had him on stage once to do a session to like practice things, and his neck was stiff, and it was getting a little looser with what I was doing, and more of the business consultants were coming around to see like, what is Ralph going to do? And finally this Scientologist guy looked at me and said, why don't you just go straight to spirit? And I was like, what? And instantly his neck was all loose, and I'm like, what is that? And it's kind of like when I first experienced matrix energetics, the result was so fast, it's like I missed it. Like, what happened? How to come all of a sudden somebody's well, or something's different, or something's totally shifted, even money stuff and all sorts of things, relationship stuff. It's like I had one time I went back from my first matrix energetics class, and I worked on my office manager, Susan, all for like 5 seconds. I was in between clients, and I said, what did you notice? And she said, you just took all the sorrow. She said, you took all the sorrow out of my heart. And I'm like, what? I didn't even know you had sorrow in your heart. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just like did this thing that they showed me in matrix energetics. So it's always been my thing. And spirit is the thing. Energy like Yoda says, you know, that stuff, we're not this crude matter. Like Yoda says, we're something else. And if you look at the physics of it all, yeah, in that space of each little atom that we are, there's infinite energy. Kind of like you split an atom and the atomic bomb goes off. There's a lot of energy in there, and we have a lot of atoms in us. So whether you look at it through science or spirituality or some energy medicine thing, miracles, instant miracles, it's like, what is that? And so what I did this morning was what I do every morning, which is my routine, my ritual of things that I do to clear stuff in my body, in my being, clear stuff that's in the way of this thing that you can't really be in the way of, but what's really inside of you, which is the infinite, which is the absolute. And what's cool is then my clients, you know, they're dealing with stuff and, you know, different roadblocks, and what you do with your time really does matter. You know, when they're dealing with something that's problem, whether they can't get on the internet or they can't do their work, or for some reason something from an outside force has stopped them from being able to deliver their result for their clients, or they've got a lot of fear, or they've got a lot of anxiety about something, or they just don't know what to do. That obstacle is truly a doorway into that infinite. And when we touch that, it's not like we have to do a lot of stuff. God has this covered. And what we can do is notice what we notice and notice what's different, and then start to count the miracles. And so one of my jobs, I feel, is to be in that space. You know, if you haven't seen there's a funny movie called Kumari. It's about a guru, and it's really funny. But he was like, yeah, it's really cool. My job is to be happy. And it's like, well, that's kind of it. So I have the best job on the planet. And, you know, when I was living out by the mountain, and we were starting to realize that, hey, we're not supposed to be homesteaders, and we're not supposed to be living just on the land and doing not much with very many people and doing that sort of thing. We realized that wasn't what we were supposed to do, but we didn't know what we were supposed to do. And so what we would do is go out to this wonderful coffee shop, organic coffee shop called the Waken Bakery. I'm so naive. I thought, oh yeah, wake up and then bakery. But it's like, oh no, wake and bake. It's like marijuana. It's like, that's the lingo. They didn't sell marijuana, but it was like the culture out there is very much snowboarder and that sort of thing. But they have great food for people that like, people came from all over the world to go to this Waken Bakery out in Glacier, Washington. And so we would go there, and we were sleeping outside, but we'd go there, and it's a beautiful little house that's all redone, and a great coffee shop, and it smells great, and cool t-shirts and sweatshirts, and you got the mountains right there. And we would drink coffee. Jen and I would drink coffee because we didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do. We knew we're not going to be homesteaders. We were sleeping outside, but for a couple of bucks, we could have a really good cup of coffee, and we would just sit upstairs and kind of pretend that was our house. And but at some point we got oh, here's how we can do this. And we learned how to turn our healing work into an online way to do it with people from all over the world. And it led to a very big process. This obstacle that we had led us to how to clear more stuff in us that was in the way of connecting to whatever that is, the absolute. And then to do a lot of physical stuff in the real world. And be led to the right people and learn how to do stuff. And every step of the way, every obstacle, clearing what was in us. So that's what I feel, Jen, and my gift is to do our work and clear stuff so that people can then connect up with the absolute, the infinite, the presence that's in them, and do what they're here to do. So that's why I didn't check the election stuff right away, and I did my work, because that's what really moves the needle, makes things happen in our world. And if you're wherever you are, if you've been locked down and you can't work for some reason, if you're starting a new business but you don't know how to do it, if you have a dream but you don't know how to make this happen, if you've got a business but it's got some obstacles in it, and maybe you have some relationship stuff, and you know there's some things in the way, some stuff that's that inner game, you know, the fear, the anxiety, imposter syndrome, you just keep procrastinating, you keep doing your version of just drinking coffee, and not knowing what else to do. There's a way to clear these anxieties and to connect up with what you're here to do. Because what you do really does matter. You know, I'm kind of going on, but a lot of stuff going on. My friend from Texas A&M has been emailing me, reconnecting with me back and forth, the guy that used to be on the track team with me and the cross country team. And he's like, hey, whatever happened to this guy? And it was one of my best friends, really probably my best friend early on. And he dropped out of college at 19. And then I heard from his brother that he married some 29-year-old divorced woman. And we thought, oh my God, so old, 29. And then I was in San Diego years later and I saw him running down the boardwalk and I'm like, dude. And so we started hanging out again and we met his wife and it was like, oh my God, we were such babies when we were 19 and she was actually an adult at 29. So we became friends again. He ran a marathon. He had been in the Navy, dropped out of the Navy or discharged from the Navy and he was going back to school, UCSD. And then his last semester, we were training for a marathon. He ran a great marathon. We didn't know that he had quit going to class. And after the marathon, he left his wife and then went into the Army and went into 182nd Airborne and, you know, went and fought in some of those wars. And I kind of lost touch with him, but I kept thinking about him. And every once in a while I would Google him to see, could I find him? And I found him a while back. And you know, I was reading in one of my favorite authors' books, Ryan Holiday's book about Malcolm X, you know, did great things for civil rights, great things for African Americans and for the world. But in his 20s, he was a thug in Detroit. He had a different name, Detroit Red. And he did bad things and was put in jail for 10 years. At age 21, he had 10 years to sit in a cell. And what he did was he studied. He went to the library and he studied and he read and he studied and he read. And he said it was like his university. He took that dead time and just made it his training. And so whatever obstacle you're going through, whatever thing that seems like it's just holding you back, whether you can't work or you've got to take time off because some technology thing isn't working in your internet business, or you don't know what to do, this kind of downtime, it's a really good time to do some inner work, clear what's in you, and then get to work and do the training to be what you're here to be. So I'm going to go check in on the election a little bit now. I checked it just before this. It looks like they're still counting, but let's get out there and live your life and heal yourself and heal the world. All right, you guys, have a great day, and I will see you all soon. If you like this, share it. If it works for you, if it was helpful, share it. Click like and heart so that more people see it, and share this work with others. So thanks a lot, and I will see you tomorrow.